Today, I am going on a collage art adventure with my travel notebook, and I'm inviting you along. I am going to be going to San Jose. I'm going to 3 places that are relatively close to one another, all on the same street. I am going to an antique mall, my favorite antique mall in San Jose. Then I'm going to a special place that is very interesting that I think you might like to see. And then after that, I'm going to take what I find and head over to a little cafe, sit down and collage with what I've got. Now, before I do that, I want to take my journal and add a few things to it. I've been doing a lot of thinking about what should go in it, and also I've gotten a lot of really great comments from the last little travel journal video I did. People having suggestions, people sharing what they've done with their travel journals and what they've brought. All of that was extremely helpful, and so I have a few ideas about what else I want to add in here. Also, I ordered and received a very interesting rubber stamp that I can use for putting dates and locations or whatever other information in my journal on the spread that I make, and I wanted to show you what it is. So actually, let me start with this. I've got a blank piece of paper, and let me take a sample color here of ink. I'll show you what this looks like. So it's got the months on the top and then 31 days on the bottom underneath, and I love it because then I can just circle what I'm at, where I'm at, and even put the year in the middle here, or the location. I can put the location and the year, whatever. Now, how should I do it in this collage? Should I do it on the back page, you know, something like here, and then write a little note? Or my other option is to just incorporate this into the collage itself. So I could just like stamp it in here and then do it. So I guess it's just all a matter of preference. Let me just do it and see how it goes. Okay, that works. Circle February and 2025 Saratoga. Am I going to bring this with me? No, I will keep it here at home, and then after I come back, then I will add this in. It's just too much trouble to bring this with me. Okay, now what about what else goes in here? Okay, so I've got some extra stamps. I have some labels. Another thing I have are these little Post-it notes. I think this is kind of an easy thing to bring along, so I'm just going to stick them right there. Maybe that's going to be a good addition to use as a background, or even if I just need to take a note about something, that'll be there. Another idea I had was bringing some small scraps that I can use as, again, background material. I just have this, I don't know, crazy little envelope with things in it, like these end pieces. Sometimes I like to have end pieces of different shades of color of papers, pages and such. So if I take another one of these little envelopes, or this one for example, and then just put some of these things in there, this is great material for using in my backgrounds. Okay, so this is what I have. We'll put that in. I also have a few labels, and I have these stickers. Stickers can be good because they are easy to put on, and they can be really nice additions to your collages as well. So there's that. And speaking of stickers, washi tape is essentially stickers, so I could bring washi tape with me. You could get a gift card. Here, this is a plain card. You just want anything that has kind of a plasticky coating on the top, right? So this is good for adding some washi tape to it. So that and this I will put in the back. Last thing I got is this. This is a ruler that clips onto your paper. So this is from the Midori company. If I can just place it in here, then that will make one less thing that I have to carry. So let's see. There we go. What's also nice about this is that you can make lines here, or there's these little shapes that you can use as outlines. Boy, this is getting kind of thick. That's okay, no worries. All right, I think I'm ready, so let's head out. So here we are at my favorite antique mall in San Jose, the Antiques Colony. What I like about this place is that there's such an eclectic mix of items. There are lots of vendors with different types of vintage things. Of course, I always hunt for paper items. This vendor has hardware that makes me wish I had an old Victorian home to restore, but he's got paper items too. I did find this vendor that has lots of postcards, and they were on sale for 50% off. This meant I had more spending leeway if I wanted to stick to my $5 cap. Lastly, in the shop next door, I found some fabulous photos. I wanted some of the smaller ones so that they would fit on the pages in my small notebook. I picked some of the smaller ones, and with all my purchases, I was ready to go. So about 5 miles from where I live is a very famous house called the Winchester House. This house and property belonged to Sarah Winchester. She bought the house in 1886 as a wealthy widow and lived here for about 36 years. Now the house is a tourist attraction, and you can buy tickets to go get a tour of the house inside. I'm not so interested in the rooms themselves. I love the gardens and the view from the outside, so that's what I'm showing you here. But I also want to tell you a little bit of her story, just because the story itself is kind of interesting. So as a young woman, she married William Winchester, the heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. And that fortune came from firearms and ammunition. Sarah and William had a daughter who died as a baby, and 15 years later is when William died of tuberculosis. Sarah was 41 at the time, and that's when she inherited William's stock in the company. Sarah's family and William's family were from the East Coast, but she moved out to California because of health reasons. Her doctor recommended that she move to a warmer climate because she had rheumatoid arthritis. Originally, the house was on 45 acres of land on a fruit ranch. Over the years, she remodeled and expanded the house and kept a lot of people happily employed, working on maintenance and construction, and then also on the ranch. In 1906, there was a really violent and destructive earthquake that hit San Francisco, and the effects were felt miles and miles away. San Jose is about 40 miles from San Francisco, and Sarah's house was heavily damaged. When she died 16 years later, the house still had a lot and with all my purchases, so much so that when the property was being sold, the land had value, but the house itself was appraised to be of no value. But someone was interested in buying it. John Brown and his wife decided to buy the house with the intention of creating a family recreation area, like an early amusement park. He couldn't raise the money to do it, however, and instead the house itself became the main attraction, and it opened to the public in 1923. The house is odd. The layout of the rooms are seemingly random. There are more than 2,000 doors, and some of them go nowhere. But you have to remember that a big part of it was the damage from the earthquake that was never repaired. Anyway, highlighting its weirdness helped to promote it as an attraction. And keep in mind, this house is a money pit. It costs a tremendous amount of money just to maintain it, and it takes even more money to restore it. The house has now been open for 100 years, and I could definitely appreciate and understand how marketing and tourism dollars help keep the house and gardens looking as good as they do. If you're interested in reading more about Sarah Winchester, check out this great book by Mary Jo Ignofo called Captive of the Labyrinth. I'll put the link in the description. All right, so I am ready to cross the street. There is a cafe not too far from here, so it's time to have a break and then get to work on collaging with the papers that I have collected. So I'm in a little shopping district called Santana Row. It is literally across the street from the Winchester Mystery House, and it's quite a different environment altogether, as you can imagine. But it's a great place to sit down and collage. Someone had asked the question in the last video, how do I record this? So I have a tripod here, and I just set it up next to my table, and that's how I record. So I managed to finish my 2 collages. I was there for about 30 to 40 minutes. It's super noisy here, and that's why I don't have the audio on when I'm doing the collage, when I'm sharing it on the video, because there's dogs barking, there's cars going by. It's just super distracting, actually. But that's kind of the challenge of being here and doing something not in my regular environment. So as long as I'm enjoying this whole process of, being in a different location while I work on collage, this could be fun. All right, I am back in my creative space. The sun is still up, but I have a lot of afternoon shadows here. Let's see if I can make this work with my camera settings. I want to show you, with my material, the possibility. I think I'm going to create one more collage here at home. But first of all, if you are enjoying this video so far, please do hit the like button so it can spread to more people, and consider subscribing so that you will be notified when future episodes of this travel journal video series do come out. So I have these 2 postcards left over, and I also have this picture of the Winchester Mystery House. And for this postcard in particular, actually it's not a postcard, it's a trade card. This large trade card, the image of these birds, I just noticed this. These birds are looking down at these buildings, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be neat if I could somehow combine this mystery house with the birds that they're looking down, and the roof on here kind of matches with this pink. So I think what I'm going to do is tear this down just the tiniest bit. Now let me see if this fits in here. That's probably good enough. I could fussy cut it, I suppose. So I still want to make a collage with these, and I want to put them in my journal, so that's what I'm going to do. This one I think I won't be able to do something with this week. Not only do I have these 2 collages, I also need to put the date stamp somehow. But if I have a second set of collages, then maybe I can incorporate the date stamp into this. So what can I do? I can do a collage this way, of course, but I would rather have the 2 on a spread. So that means I'm going to cut this. Where would I cut it? Well, I would naturally cut it right where there is a separation here. So I want to make sure that I have a very straight, clean cut. So I will use my rotary cutter tool. Now for backgrounds, I think I'm just going to stick with my production handbook papers. So let's see. I just want text. I think that's all I want. I don't want to be distracting with anything else, any other kinds of illustrations. So let me just use 2 pages of text. I don't know if you can hear my birds outside. I put up a couple of feeders, bird feeders. So I have birds going crazy. Oh, wow, what is this? Women as inspectors. Ooh. For many inspection jobs, women have proven most satisfactory, being generally careful, patient, and better suited than men for repetitive types of inspection. Wow. Should I save that for something else? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll save that for another special kind of collage. In the meantime, I'll take one of these. All right, that's going to have to do. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Put this here, and then this here, like this. I think I want some additional background, so I found this. So I think I'm going to cut off a piece of this. This is just pattern paper, And I also had this little scrap. I like it because it has pink that matches with this pink and also this pink. So I'll put that there. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to add this date stamp right somewhere down here. So if I want to add the date stamp, I don't think I want to add it on directly because I don't think it's going to properly press. So in that case, I will take probably one of my scraps, the large piece here. Oh, this is a piece of envelope. This might work as well. It's kind of an interesting piece of paper. Okay, so that's going to go just like that. Okay, so let me cut and glue everything down and then I will show you what it looks like. All right, here is the last piece. Let's put it like that. Okay. So let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for anything else I can add to my journal. Also, let me know if you've done this sort of thing before, of making a journal and taking it with you somewhere. If you have any words of advice, I'd love to hear them. I hope this has been enjoyable. See you the next time.